Yes, all right, so this is all very exciting, hot off the press. We've got some Gen Forever parts here for us to do some trial fitting. And so what I've got holding here is a steel cylinder, which has been ground on the outside and the inside, ID and OD. And so that's very precise, and the concept there was that we would have these ground so then we could just put a light crosshatch in there and not have to worry about sizing too much. So they're already perfect as they are ground. So a very light cross-hatching in there and they're ready to go. So that barrel there, that steel cylinder, is 4340, and down the road we might nitride that, but right now it's the same surface that the legacy Jabiru would have. So that all should work fine. And right next to it is the cooling jacket that it's going to be ultimately shrunk into. And that little recessed area there, that little reduced diameter there right at the spigot there, that's the part that's going to be machined for the pistons or the cylinder skirts, and that's going to go into the legacy crankcase. That's the Gen 1 through to Gen 3. Here we have our cylinder head here, and this barrel here is going to be screwed into that head there, and that's going to be screwed down nice and tight, sealing on that top surface there and that surface there primarily. And then once that's down tight, there'll be a little shoulder there sticking up, as I've previously described, and that'll be machined flush with that. So basically when that heads all the way down, that shoulder there will be just prior to that surface, and then I'll machine the two surfaces together so they're flush. And then the idea is then this cooling jacket, all aluminium cooling jacket, will be warmed up and the entire assembly dropped in here, lined up with the holes, and then of course it'll all be pulled down with the through bolts, which I've also had made here. And all this will be supplied in the kit. So that's looking really good. I've also done a trial fitment of the exhaust and inlet pipes with the Jabiru style flanges and the O-rings, the copper ring on the exhaust side and the rubber O-ring on the inlet side, and that has worked perfectly. And here is my example of the billet machine chromoly clamp, bridge clamp. And that's worked out perfectly. And that slot idea has worked out good because that allows a little bit of wiggle room as you line it all up. And as you can see, it all fits in there perfectly. Very pleased with how that's turned out. At the moment, I've got two exhaust pockets because the intention is I can choose whichever side I want to be the inlets and simply remachine the side that I want to turn into the inlet. And therefore I have an ambidextrous head that can go on the early legacy Gen 1 through to Gen 3 4-cylinder 2200, and of course also the 3300. Right now the Gen 4 setup is the heads are all the same, so even if you wanted to, you couldn't put a late Gen 4 assembly onto an early 2200. They simply don't do it like that anymore. All of the cylinder heads on the Gen 4s, be it the 2200 or the 3300, are all the same, machined the same way. So the idea of the reverse head is no longer used. Well, we've gone back to that, so I can go either way and fit this Gen Forever type setup on the early legacy 2200, which is ideal. So it's back to how it originally was. So that's all good. Now here's some of the parts. So the idea, now what I've got here at the moment is I've got some Gen 4 parts in stock off some customers' engines that we're building, and just to test them, and that's, as you can see, they fit perfectly. But to convert an original legacy engine, you'll be using these spigots, and these will be shut and cut welded. Now we'll offer, that's likely, we've been discussing how that might be burdensome for the customer to do that, although not overly difficult, but still a task. What we would be prepared to do is do a changeover setup. We would receive your pipes as cores, and we would in exchange give you already pre-welded pipes that have already had the modification done on our fixturing. That's what we propose. Also our rocker arms, what we're running is a mechanical rocker arm on all engines, whether they be hydraulic or otherwise, and the idea is then you can adjust for the various pushrod lengths. Also you can see the large bore there will accommodate either the 15mm rocker shaft or the latest 10mm rocker shaft, and can be bronzed, bushed or roller bearinged. So that's all been pre-organised. And also we have the offset pushrod here, which puts it right in the middle of the sweet spot, superseding the previous billet rocker arm, which of course doesn't have the offset, which was causing a problem with the pushrod rubbing on the pushrod tube right where the circlip is. Well, that's all fixed now. Also, we've got pushrod tubes here, Gen 4 style, but they've been made longer so they can be cut down and trimmed to suit whatever engine you've got, whether it be a Gen 1 or a Gen 3. There are slight variations in the pushrod length, so we've made these pushrod tubes longer to accommodate that, so you can just simply trim them to suit, or we could supply them trimmed before you order the kit. And of course you've got the O-ring at this end, and that'll just nestle in there like so. That'll all go in there, just like the Gen 4. And no circlips, so what there'll be is just a little keeper washer at the top of that with a bolt that stops the pushrod tube from going in that way, just like you do on the Gen 4. We've got our valve collet retainers, we've got our spring bases here as well. They all look perfect, no problem there. Of course, we talked about the rocker arms. That's all good. We've got our double valve springs and valves coming, but everything else is the same. These are, of course, our push rods. You'll get these in the kit. These are the longer push rods for the G4E, Gen 4 style push rods. We're making those. They'll come with the O-rings as well. And so we're all looking good. So we just look at this head here. You can see that's our rocker cover. Okay. Got the logo on there and everything, so it's all nice. I'm working with one hand here, so I might just come back and show you. Well, anyway, you can see the head here, how it all looks. It's all come up good. There's a couple of little bugs in it that we need to fix. There's a little problem here, which we'll need to add a little bit of material to the pattern to get that to clean up on that spark plug face. Other than that, yeah, everything else has worked out pretty well. There's a few little tiny things I want to correct. We'll get them on the next run. We've only done a very short run of castings this time round to check things. But so far everything's looking really good. I've measured everything up, it's looking really good. So very pleased with all this. So now what we're going to do is test our assembly process. As I said, the first thing we're going to do is put this cylinder into the head with a bit of heat. The head will get heated up. Once we've got all the seats and guides and all done first, so the beauty of this is we can do all the machine work now. Then this can be screwed in tight, and then all this will be shrunk into the jacket. And then finally, there'll be a spigot sitting out here which will fit the earlier crankcases, and we'll simply machine after the fact the cylinder skirts to fit the early cases. And then whatever's left behind will be just the the skirt for the cylinder. So that's all looking good. Yeah. So what I'll do now is I'll just quickly whip off this rocker cover to show you the detail inside the head. It's all machined in there and it's ready to go. So back in a sec. Alright, so screws have been removed from the rocker cover now, and we'll take that off. As you can see, that's perfect, and it's all machined in there. So that's where that little washer, the little keeper washer will go with a screw in there, and that stops the pushrod tubes from coming in this way. In fact, it'll allow us to slide the pushrod tubes down this way and fit them to the crankcase and the engine coming in from this way. And then once the pushrods are down and nested into their O-rings, you simply put your screw there with your little catch washer. Same as the Gen 4 setup, no difference. We're all machined in here, so our rocker arms are going to fit in there perfectly. You can see how that offset works. So it lines up with the hole perfectly there, see? Whereas previously, when you didn't have that little offset there on the rocker cup with the earlier ones, they still work, but they're out of a line, you see? They get too close to the edge. So that was an early problem. That was solved later on, and we've of course emulated that in our design. Although these are not a forged rocker arm, these are a fully machined rocker arm. The O-ring fits, the standard O-ring fits as usual, and of course the cap, as you can see, no problem, fits beautifully. Done. So all that's going to work. We put our standard liquid cooled, from our liquid cooled heads, same guides we're going to use, same valves, same everything, guides and seats. So nothing changes there, same combustion chamber, although slightly different angle, but very similar. No big difference there. The beauty with this assembly is we're actually going to be able to have a positive sealing shut here as well. As you can see, the thread does, unlike the Jabiru Gen 4, the thread on ours doesn't break through. So once that cooling jacket is down hard on that face there, which is the primary sealing face, we're also, once I machine that shoulder there, flush with this surface, this will be a secondary sealing face, which will positively mate with the cooling jacket because we don't have to worry about things rotating with a thread here because this is all just going to be pressed down into the cooling jacket. And then so this surface here And this surface here will be a second sealing face, fully, as you can see, along with the face between the top of the barrel there and there. Probably over-explaining myself, but I'm pretty excited about it. So that's going to work really well. I can't see that missing. So we're just going to now hone these, or just size these for the perfect fit on the standard piston, 40 thou over. Of course, we intend to reuse these with our forged pistons, although any piston should work in here. And we're off to the races. So got a little bit more adjusting to do. Got to do the seat pockets, get the guides and valves in, screw it all together, make up some fixturing to do that. And what I intend to do is, believe it or not, I intend to run this one cylinder assembly on a odd engine with just this cylinder alone running on its own with the rest of the normal cylinders, and we'll the intention is to push the bejesus out of this engine and put this cylinder on the hottest spot on the engine and really abuse it, really hit it hard in our dyno and see how it behaves. I expect it'll work really well. But that's next. So first things first is get this all together and get it on a test engine as a single cylinder setup. All right. Actually, there was one other feature that I missed that I want to highlight, and that is our lubrication system for the rockers. So we've also got cross-drilled rockers here, as you can see, and I've also got cross-drilling through this tappet here where my thumb is. So that's been drilled and cross-drilled, so the oil can flow right across there and also lubricate the bush. But we have two systems available. For the early Gen 1 style engines with the solid push rods, we've got you covered too, because of course these are an adjustable rocker arms, and these will be used on the hydraulic engine and the solid lifter engine. But aside from that, we've also got two means of lubrication. So these are the rocker pins designed for the 10mm shaft. Okay, so, and we have a set of bearings and bushings that are available for all rocker arms. Now the idea is, on those earlier engines where they had that, you know, between the cylinder heads, they had the rubber T-piece with the external oiler with the solid push rods. If you've got that particular engine, we've got you covered, because what we've got here is this is the grub screw, effectively the grub screw that is designed to lock the rocker pin in place. So the rocker pin is hollow and has oilers there right on the rocker arms, as you can see, right on the rocker bearings, right there. And this, of course, goes in here, like so, and the holes line up to lubricate your rocker arms. Now on the Gen 4, they've just simply got grub screws on their latest version. On their earlier version, they had a bolt right through here, but on the later version, they had a grub screw each end. Well, we're going to do the same thing, but rather than one of the grub screws, or either of the grub screws, can be this particular fitting here. Now the idea of that fitting is that'll be Loctite in position for sealing, and you'll be able to attach your rubber T fitting of your earlier Gen 1 style engine directly onto this, rather than to the other location. So it'll all fit out, work out okay, and then you'll be able to put that rubber T onto here, and then what'll happen is your oil, rather than dribbling down like it used to, will actually, that oil will, from that rubber T, will obviously go across here and lubricate your rocker gear, which is fantastic. And that'll all be done via this plug, or hollow grub screw as we would call it, which is doubling as a T fitting. And then on the other end, you can either have the same thing, or you can just simply blanket off with a grub screw. So be able to emulate your external rocker oiling system of the Gen 1. Now on the later engines, Gen 2 and Gen 3, that have internal hollow push rods with internal lubrication, well, you'll just run your grub screws there, and you won't need your rubber T because your engine won't have them. And in that case, you'll be oiling through your hollow push rods and the lifters, as per the later Gen 2 and Gen 3 engines, and even the Gen 4. So we've got the lubrication for your rocker gear both covered, and we won't be using the dribbling system anymore. We'll either be positively feeding through, as I said, the side using this fitting, or blank those off with just the normal Gen 4 style grub screws, and you'll lubricate through your hollow push rods. And in either case, you'll use the same rocker arm because we've got the cross drilling to accommodate that. that cross drilling will lubricate the, if I can get a focus on that, I'm not sure if I can, doesn't want to, of course. There we go. See there, it's probably bad lighting, but there's a hole right in the middle of that. Tap it and it'll cross feed right through the bushing where my thumb is, right through to the tip. So that's the lubrication taken care of. So the idea of the kit is much like our liquid cooled setup. We want to be able to supply it to all engines, and with the lowest part count as possible. So the idea is you won't necessarily need these rocker arms, and we won't supply them unless you absolutely need them, because the idea of the head is it'll be supplied so that it can be used on any engine, and you'll just simply use whatever you got. So try and keep the parts down to a minimum. So you're really only needing to order the cylinder assemblies, the push rods, the nuts, and some of the fasteners, and that'll get you on your way. So this kit should be reasonably straightforward. We're quite excited about it, and yeah, it should be a really viable upgrade once we develop it fully, which shouldn't take too long. So there we go.